Hi, freelancing class. This is Dr. K, here with some advice about how you can use the readings from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to complete the homework that is due this weekend. Now, I understand these readings may feel like a lot. So for example, on Wednesday, I gave you 2 chapters and 2 web pages, and no, I guess that's Thursday, I gave you 2 chapters and 2 web pages, and Friday, I'm giving you 6 web pages. But I want you to understand that you don't necessarily need to read all of this super thoroughly. That is, a lot of it you can just skim to give you ideas for things to fill out on your worksheet. And I'll give you an example in just a minute. But the 2 chapters I want you to read most closely are the ones on creating a home-based editorial business by Barbara Fuller, because she talks in so much detail about what editing work from home entails and gives you a good breakdown of different tasks. So one of the most useful things that I think she gives you in the first chapter is that assessment section that starts, I believe, on page 12 and goes to page 16 or so. Let me share that with you. Yeah, so here's the table that starts on page 16 of her chapter, which is page 18 of the PDF. And you'll notice that what she's given you here is a list of professional skills that freelance editors need, a list of interpersonal characteristics that will make it possible for you to succeed in that kind of role, and then the business skills that you need to support it. And what I like about this chapter is that in the previous pages, she explains to you exactly what she means by each of these skills. And then by the time you get to the table, she asks you to assess whether or not you already have that skill, whether it's a skill that you need, and if it is a skill that you need, how you're going to go about acquiring it. So basically, she has you set up a strategic plan for either mapping the skills that you already have or mapping the skills that you want so that you can reasonably take on this kind of business. And I think the practical things that she tells you about attention to detail, knowing style manuals, she's exactly on that. That's great advice for you who are interested in pursuing that area. Then the second thing I think that she gives you is useful in the second chapter is pretty much the whole chapter, which is a really detailed breakdown of different tasks that you can do as an editor and general pricing guidelines for each of those tasks. So sadly, none of the other readings include the pricing details, but she does a really good job of talking about what the actual job descriptions are for different types of editorial titles and giving you a sense of what you can charge. Once you kind of read through that chapter, then you can skim through the 2 chapters on different kinds of niches in document design. Excuse me. And same for the Friday readings, all the 6 different pages about different types of teaching and tutoring services that you can offer. Those are literally just a brainstorming tools for you to figure out how to get your niche worksheet as specific as you possibly can. Let me give you an example by going back to the worksheet that I started filling out in my previous video and show you how I was able to use these readings to make it even more specific. I'm going to share with you again. Okay, so you'll remember that in the previous video when I filled this out, I actually put document design as one of the general categories that I would offer freelancing skills in. And then when I posted the readings for this week, I realized, oh my goodness, document design is still way too general a category because there are all kinds of designs that I am more qualified to do and less qualified to do, or that I enjoy more and that I also enjoy less. So I needed to get more specific about what those were going to offer. So after skimming through the blog article titled 8 Types of Graphic Design by Mila Khan, I realized that almost all of the skills that I particularly would want to offer fall into what she calls marketing graphic design. So you'll notice I've taken document design out and I've replaced it with these more specific categories underneath proofreading, which is where we ended last time. So it now changes to magazine ad design, newspaper ad design, online ads, posters, event programs, brochures, restaurant menus, and digital slideshows. And the reason I picked these things is that the kinds of design that I like to do come from mainly 2 areas. Number one, I want to lean into my software strengths, which are in-page layout programs. So for example, Adobe InDesign. I'm not a professional photographer or illustrator. I would not want to compete with somebody who has an art degree who really specializes in those things. And neither are Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop among my strongest software skills. So I have a working knowledge of them, but I'm not proficient. So that influences greatly the kinds of design that I would like to do that for me would be enjoyable and that I could produce and have it look great. I would rather have them give me their logos and photos, and then I work that into a page layout. Another thing that I would probably add to this, although she didn't have it in her marketing category, would be resume and cover letters, which some of you have mentioned you also like to design. Again, that's a simple page layout that doesn't require a lot of illustration or photography. So I feel pretty confident with that and can do it quickly and make good money on it. The other thing that I picked up from reading her chapter was that while I would not myself want to design logos or design user interfaces, because I don't have the coding expertise to design the interface, what I do have professional expertise in is evaluating the effectiveness of those designs. So for example, I'm good at conducting usability testing or conducting focus groups to get consumer opinions about designs. Some of you may have this expertise too. So for example, in our programs, there is a course called Usability Testing and Design. Dr. Joe Williams teaches it. And if you've had that class, then you also have this expertise, and that's something you might consider. So I'm going to add usability test design and conducting focus groups. Okay, so now I've got a much more specific set of skills. And so I will not waste time with clients where they come to me and say, oh, do you do all kinds of design? I can say, no, here are the very specific tasks that I'm willing to offer to you. And I can do that with confidence because I know they're the ones that I'm good at, and that they will not take me so much time that I end up investing more time than the client can possibly pay me for. So again, I'm going to encourage you as you fill out this worksheet to make it as specific as you can. Don't worry that it's getting too long. This is purely for brainstorming. You may or may not use all of these categories. If you run out of lines, go ahead and add more. So notice, for example, I can come and click in here and do insert rows below. I can add as many extra lines as I want. You make this as specific as you can. Don't over edit yourself. We can always decide later that there are some things you want to include in your marketing plan and your website, and there are others that you don't. But for now, put as many ideas as you can possibly get on the table. All right, let me stop sharing that. Now, this exercise that we're doing with listing these niches is actually something that benefits you regardless of whether you ultimately decide that freelancing is for you. So for example, let's say you decide that you don't necessarily want to create your own business, either part-time or full-time, you want to pursue employment for someone else. These same niches that we're listing here and learning about not only serve as services that you can advertise, but they can also be search terms that you use in your job hunt. And what I mean by this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see new graduates of our program make when they go on the job market is I see them search only for jobs that say writer or jobs that say technical writer. But in fact, every single one of these niches that we are exploring is sometimes a job title of its own. And if it's not the job title, sometimes it's also in the job description or the job responsibilities. So if you are searching for jobs and the only things you're looking for are jobs with writer in the title, you might be missing more than half of the jobs that you're actually qualified for. So this brainstorming is going to serve you two ways. Number one, to create your list of services. Number two, to actually help you with your job search should you choose not to freelance. Okay. Once you've completed these readings and this worksheet, you should at that point begin to be having a good sense of what you're looking for, either in creating a freelancing business or searching for a job on your own. Once we know that, then next week we can shift to talking about, now that you know what you're looking for, where do you actually find these jobs? Where do you find the clients who are going to make up your business? Or where do you find business who are interested in hiring these kinds of people? So we're going to start talking about things like the difference between active marketing and passive marketing, and how, depending on your goals, you may have a different balance of active marketing to passive marketing to get the number of clients that is the right balance for you. Okay, so just remind you of things that are coming up. This Monday at 11:59 p.m., this worksheet is due. Now, if you finish it before Monday at 11:59, you're welcome to turn it in. You can submit it to me either at my UALR email address or through Google Docs. Excuse me. But you're also welcome to hold on to it till Monday, because Monday night I will have open Zoom office hours. And these office hours will be a place where you can come in and talk to me about the homework that's due that night, or you can just come and chat about general questions you have, ideas for your freelancing business. I'm not going to present any formal lectures there. It's going to be purely based on what your questions are at the time. So you can come or not come. They're not mandatory. Sometimes you'll come and there'll be like 3 people already in with me. Sometimes you'll come in, you'll be the only person. That doesn't matter. Just know that there's a link to the office hours in the syllabus, and I'll also make sure that it's clearly on the course shell so that you can get to them if you would like to interact. Last thing is that your 5 discussion contributions are also due Monday at 11:59. Now, for some of you, that's going to be no problem because you've practically already done your 5 contributions. Others of you, I understand the weekend is your main working time, so no big deal. Just make sure that you get your 5 contributions for this week in by this coming Monday at 11:59. On Tuesday, I will post the information for the new week. Okay, between now and Monday, if you need me, drop me an email, send me a text message, send me a message on Facebook. Otherwise, take good care of yourself, and I will see you online soon. Thanks.